Hi, I am Shailey Dash. Welcome to the Knowledge Club Online. Today, I am going to discuss about viruses. Most of us know about viruses and that they spread diseases. But what is a virus exactly? Is it alive? What's the structure of a virus? How does it infect a host? There's a lot to discuss here. Take a look. Virus itself an infectious agent of small size and simple composition that can multiply only in living cells of animals, plants, insects or bacteria. The name is from a Latin word meaning slimy liquid or poison. Viruses occupy a special taxonomic position. They are not plants, animals or prokaryotic bacteria. Prokaryotic bacteria means a single-cell organisms without defined nuclei. And the virus, they are generally placed in their own kingdom. In fact, viruses should not even be considered organisms in the strictest sense because they are not free-living. That means they cannot reproduce and carry on metabolic processes without a host cell. Three main properties distinguish viruses from their various host cells, that is size, nucleic acid content, and metabolic capabilities. Most viruses vary in diameter from 20 nanometers to 400 nanometers. The amount and arrangement of the proteins and nucleic acid of viruses determine their size and shape. The nucleic acid and proteins of each class of viruses assemble themselves into a structure called a nucleoprotein or nucleocapsid. Some viruses have more than one layer of protein surrounding the nucleic acid, still others have a lipoprotein membrane called an envelope derived from the membrane of the host cell that surrounds the nucleocapsid core. Penetrating the membrane are additional proteins that determine the specificity of the virus to host cells. The protein and nucleic acid constituents have properties unique for each class of viruses. When assembled, they determine the size and shape of the virus for that specific class. The genomes of miniviruses and pandoraviruses, which are some of the largest known viruses, range from 1 to 2.5 MB. 1 MB means 1,000,000 base pairs of DNA. Only the largest and most complex viruses can be seen under the light microscope at the highest resolution. Any determination of the size of a virus also must take into account its shape, since different classes of viruses have distinctive shapes. Animal viruses exhibit extreme variation in size and shape. The smallest animal viruses belong to the families Parvoviridae and Picornaviridae and measure about 20 nm and about 30 nm in diameter respectively. Viruses of these two families are icosahedrons and contain nucleic acids with limited genetic information. Viruses of the family Poxviridae are about 250 to 400 nm in their longest dimension, and they are neither polygons nor filaments. Pox viruses are structurally more complex than simple bacteria, despite their close resemblance. Animal viruses that have rod-shaped helical nucleocapsids are those enclosed in an envelope. These viruses are found in the families Paramyxoviridae, Orthomyxoviridae, Coronaviridae, and Rhabdoviridae. Not all enveloped viruses contain helical nucleocapsids. However, those of the families Herpesviridae, Retroviridae, and Togaviridae have polygonal nucleocapsids. Most enveloped viruses appear to be spherical, although the rhabdoviruses are elongated cylinders. Shapes of viruses are predominantly of two kinds, rods or filaments, so called because of the linear array of the nucleic acid and the protein subunits, and spheres, which are actually 20 sides isosahedral polygons. Most plant viruses are small, and either filaments or polygons, as are many bacterial viruses. The larger and more complex bacteriophages, however, contain as their genetic information double-stranded DNA and combine both filamentous and the polygonal shapes. The classic T4 bacteriophage is composed of a polygonal head which contains the DNA genome and a special function rod-shaped tail of long fibers. Structures such as these are unique to the bacteriophages. Viruses are quintessential parasites. They depend on the host cell for almost all of their life-sustaining functions. Unlike true organisms, viruses cannot synthesize proteins because they have lack of ribosomes, the cell organelles which for the use for the translation of viral messenger RNA, means mRNA, a complementary copy of the nucleic acid of the nucleus that associates with ribosomes and directs protein synthesis into protein. Viruses must use the ribosomes of their host cells to translate viral mRNA into viral proteins. Viruses are also energy parasites. Unlike cells, they cannot generate or store energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate, means ATP. The virus derives energy as well as all other metabolic functions from the host cells. The invading virus uses the nucleotides and amino acids of the host cells to synthesize its nucleic acids and proteins respectively. Some viruses use the lipids and sugar chains of the host cell to form their membranes and glycoproteins. Proteins linked to short polymers consisting of several sugars, that's called the glycoproteins. The true infectious part of any virus is its nucleic acid, either DNA or RNA, but never both. In many viruses, but not at all, the nucleic acid alone, stripped of its capsid, can infect cells, although considerably less efficiently than can the intact virions. The virion capsid has three functions. Number 1. To protect the viral nucleic acid from digestion by certain enzymes, that is the nuclease. Number 2. To furnish sites on its surface that recognize and attach or absorbs the virion to receptors on the surface of the host cell and in some viruses. Number 3. To provide proteins that form part of a specialized component that enables the virion to penetrate through the cell surface membrane or in special cases to inject the infectious nucleic acids into the interior of the host cell. Now, come to the point of the host range and distribution. The logic originally dictated that viruses be identified on the basis of the host they infect. This is justified in many cases but not in the others, and the host range and distribution of viruses are only one criterion for their classification. It is still traditional to divide viruses into four categories: those that infect animals, plants, insects, or bacteria. Virtually all plant viruses are transmitted by insects or other organisms like vectors that feed on plants. The hosts of animal viruses vary from protozoans, that's called single-celled animal organisms, to humans. Many viruses infect either invertebrate animals or vertebrates, and some infect both. Certain viruses that cause serious diseases of animals and humans are carried by arthropods. These vector-borne diseases multiply in both the invertebrate vector and the vertebrate host. Certain viruses are limited in their host range to the various orders of vertebrates. Some viruses appear to be adapted for growth only in ectothermic vertebrates. Ectothermic vertebrates, called the animals commonly referred to as cold-blooded, such as fishes and reptiles, possibly because they can reproduce only at low temperature. Other viruses are limited in their host range to endothermic vertebrates. Endothermic, called the animals commonly referred to as the warm-blooded, such as mammals. Now come to the point of the viral structure. In viral structure, the nucleic acid is the main point. As is true in all forms of life, the nucleic acid of each virus encodes the genetic information for the synthesis of all proteins. In almost all free-living organisms, the genetic information is in the form of double-stranded DNA arranged as a spiral lattice, joined at the base along the length of the molecule, a double helix. In viruses, However, genetic information can come in a variety of forms, including single-stranded, that's called RNA, or in double-stranded, and called the DNA. The nucleic acids of virions are arranged into genomes. All double-stranded DNA viruses consist of a single large molecule, whereas most double-stranded RNA viruses have segmented genomes, with each segment usually representing a single gene that encodes the information for synthesizing a single protein. Viruses with single-stranded genomic DNA are usually small, with limited genetic information. Some single-stranded DNA viruses are composed of two populations of virions, each consisting of complementary single-stranded DNA of polarity opposite to that of the other. The virions of most plant viruses and many animal and bacteria viruses are composed of single-stranded RNA. In most of these viruses, the genetic RNA is turned a positive strand because the genetic RNA acts as a mRNA for direct synthesis, that's called the translation of viral protein. Several large families of animal viruses and one that includes both plant and animal viruses, the Rhabdoviridae, however, contain genomic single-stranded RNA termed a negative strand, which is complementary to mRNA. All of these negative strand RNA viruses have an enzyme called an RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, that is called a transcriptase enzyme, which must first catalyze the synthesis of complementary mRNA from the virion genomic RNA before viral protein synthesis can occur. This variation in the nucleic acid of viruses from one central criterion for classification of all viruses. A distinctive large family of single-stranded RNA viruses is called Retroviridae. The RNA of these viruses is positive, but the viruses are equipped with an enzyme called a reverse transcriptase that copies the single-stranded RNA to form double-stranded DNA. The next most important part of the viral structure is the protein capsid. The protein capsid provides the second major criterion for the classification of viruses. The capsid surrounds the virus and is composed of a finite number of protein subunits, known as capsomers, which usually associated with or are found close to the virion nucleic acid. The capsid is arranged symmetrically around the nucleic acid core. Based on symmetry of capsid, virus architecture can be grouped into three categories: icosahedral, means cubical, helical, and complex. An icosahedral is a polygon with 12 varieties of corners and 20 facets or sides and 30 edges. Each facet is an equilateral triangle. The isosahedral capsids are of two types of pentagonal capsomers at the vertices, pentons, and hexagonal capsomers, hexons, at the facets. The pentons touch only 5 neighbors while the hexons touch 6 neighbors. In an icosahedral capsid, there are always 12 pentons, but the number of hexons varies with the virus group. Icosahedral capsid is most stable. Viruses with icosahedral nucleocapsids include Papova, Picorna, Adeno, all naked viruses, and herpes, toga, retro, and flaviviruses, all enveloped viruses. Most viruses with icosahedral symmetry are naked. Isosahedral viruses are spherical, sphere-like appearance in nature. Number 2 is the helical nucleocapsids. The capsomers and nucleic acids are wound together to form a helical or spherical tube. Helical symmetry gives the virus a rod-like appearance. Most of the helical viruses are enveloped, and all are RNA viruses and include coronavirus, rhabdovirus, paramyxovirus, orthomyxovirus, etc. Number 3. The complex capsid. Some viruses do not conform to their isosahedral or helical symmetry due to the complexity of their structure. The example is pox virus and some bacteriophages. In viral structure, Another important part is the viral envelope. Certain viruses contain envelope that surround the nucleocapsid. The composition of viral envelope is the consist of a lipid bilayer derived from the host cell membrane and virus-coated glycoproteins, which are inserted in the bilayer and protect to the outer surface of the envelope. These glycoprotein subunits are called peplomers. Peplos means the envelope. For many viruses, these can be observed as spikes. These glycoproteins replace the normal membrane proteins. The cellular proteins are rarely found in the viral envelope, even though it is derived from the cell membrane. The glycoprotein serves three basic functions. They promote interactions with nucleocapsid protein, which is essential for the final stage of assembly of viruses. Number 2, they act as viral attachment proteins to cellular receptors, which is essential for infectivity. Number 3, the glycoproteins are the major antigens for protective immunity. Further detail of viral envelope I will discuss in the next video. Another most important part of the viral structure is the viral proteins. These can be divided into several groups on the basis of their functions. Number 1, the structural proteins. Number 2, the enzymes. Structural proteins, these are essential for the formation of new viral particles. Some proteins are associated with nucleic acid. These proteins are responsible for proper packing of viral genomes during synthesis. Some proteins form the protective layers of the virus capsid and envelope and protect the viral genome against inactivation by enzyme nuclease. They participate in the attachment of the virus particle to susceptible cell. They determine the antigen characteristics of the virus. Another detailing of the structural proteins I will discuss in the next video. The next is the enzymes. Some viruses carry enzymes inside the virions in very small amounts. The enzymes are essential for the initiation of viral replicative cycle when the virus enters the host cell. Enzymes possessed by some selected human viruses, like the pox viruses, use the DNA-dependent RNA polymerase enzyme. Hepatitis B virus that use the DNA polymerase. RNA viruses, retroviruses like coronaviruses, they are used the RNA-dependent DNA polymerase reverse transcriptase. RNA viruses, the RNA-dependent RNA polymerase are the enzymes. The further details of the enzymes I will discuss in the next video. So, if you like our video, please click at the like button and share this video in your circle. Don't forget to subscribe our channel, which will help you to gather more knowledges in future. And if you already subscribed our channel, then click at above bell button to know our channel updates. At last, please write your experience regarding this video at comment box, which will help us to evaluate ourselves. We are coming with our next video shortly. Till then, goodbye.